that's our last question on helping others to see by itself. So now we're going to look at a ball to roll around. Number 13, the primary purpose of this selection, and remember this is the blind guy who somebody gave him a baseball and he rolled it around, created a new game, and he talks about how that impacted his life, Robert Allman. So what's the purpose of this, number 13? The correct answer here is D. The author experienced something positive as a result of his blindness, so he moves on to talk about that later in the passage, but also at the beginning, paragraph 2. Let's see where this one starts. Here we go. It occurred to me, right here, this segment, it occurred to me the other day that I might not have come to love life so as I do if I had not been blind. I believe in life now. I'm not so sure that I would have believed in it so deeply otherwise. So a pretty direct statement relating to that purpose there in number 13. Okay. All right, number 14, the number's on one page and the question's on the next. So we'll go to the next. In paragraph 4, the expression chair rocker refers to someone who, so let's look at the context, always a good idea. Paragraph 4, the hardest lesson I had to learn was to believe in myself. That was basic. If I hadn't been able to do that, I would have collapsed and become a chair rocker on the front porch for the rest of my life. All right, so the question is inferring what he means by that. And the correct answer choice there is H. He would be mostly inactive. The idea is that he would just kind of be a bump on the log. Number 15, how did the gift of baseball affect the author? So let's look at that spot. Starts with paragraph 5. When I was a youngster, once a man gave me an indoor baseball. I thought he was mocking me and I was hurt. I can't use this, I said. Take it with you, he urged me, and roll it around. The words stuck in my head, roll it around, roll it around. By rolling the ball, I could listen where it went. This gave me an idea. How to achieve a goal, and this is key. How to achieve a goal I thought impossible, playing baseball. At Philadelphia's Overbrook School for the Blind, I invented a successful variation of baseball. We called it ground ball, okay? So from our answer choices, it motivated him to create a game that did not require sight. It reminded him of the fun activities he could no longer enjoy. That's more of a negative thing. C, it reinforced his belief that people are often thoughtless. Again, that was just his initial belief, and he came to change his mind about that. And D, it offered him the chance to try playing a traditional game. D and A both sound possible. A is the correct answer. The reason D is wrong is because he didn't actually play baseball. He changed it to ground ball. Okay, so keep that in mind, that he took baseball and adapted it and made a new game. So that's the reason D is wrong. Okay, 16. On which persuasive technique does the author mostly rely? And the correct answer here is G, personal experience. One big key that's the correct answer is the title. Always pay attention to the title. So this title is A Ball to Roll Around. What does that reference? It references his personal experience. Okay, so the whole story is kind of centered on that one rather small memory that he has, or personal experience that he had. All right, number 17. Whoops. In paragraph 10, the author suggests that his friends, so stop and let's look at paragraph 10. So we're looking at what he says about his friends. I believe I made progress more readily because of the pattern of life shaped by certain values. I find it easier to live with myself if I try to be honest. Still nothing about friends. Here we go. I find strength in the friendship and interdependence of people. I would be blind indeed without my sighted friends. Okay, so the question is then, what is he saying about his friends? I find strength in friendship and interdependence of people. I find strength in those things. Sorry, I would be blind indeed without my sighted friends. All right, so 17. The correct answer here is D. It's kind of a very I don't know, on the nose answer. He suggests that his friends are very important to him. I would be blind indeed without my sighted friends. Okay. And be careful here. If you were to miss this, it's probably because you're putting your own thoughts and ideas. Like your experiences show you that we've all seen stories about blind people who are mistreated or people with handicaps being mistreated, or maybe have had our own experiences with that. Make sure not to put your own experiences into the multiple choice questions. Okay? That's not the place for them. They only want to say, what did the author suggest? Only. Okay, so be careful about that. Don't just jump to conclusions based on your own experiences. Only find it in the text. All right, number 18. The box information titled, Did You Know? And we do actually have this box information. Which fact about Robert Altman directly supports the selection's theme? So this is a multi-step question. It doesn't tell you what the theme is. You have to identify that. And so then you have to do that and then look at the facts. So let's see what it says. It just lists a bunch of things here, things that he's accomplished. And then one thing that he said, I've done nothing more than the average American boy. Courage is nothing more than doing the best you can in the good old American way. Other than that, it's, you know, all the awards he's won and things like that, what he did with his life. Okay? Let me see if I can find my question again. Here we go. All right, so the correct answer here is H, that quotation I just read you about courage. Why? Because that's the only thing that directly has any thematic relevance. That doesn't mean it's the only thing that talks about any kind of universal topic. The rest are, he won this award, he became a lawyer, he was a wrestling champion. Those all could indirectly support a theme, but we're looking for something that directly talks about a theme. And so here he's talking about courage and the way courage has worked in his life. Okay, so H is the only one that directly does that. All right, now 19 moves to the section where we're talking about both together. Okay, so we have two quotations. Helping others to see, he is also keeping an eye on the staff, insisting on their impeccability and service, guiding his superbly honed institution of compassion with a glance, a word, a silent presence, a smile. And then from a ball to roll around, I find it easier to live with myself if I try to be honest. Which of these statements best expresses the difference in tone between the two quotations? And before you look at the answer, you might ask yourself what you think the tones were in the two passages or in the two quotations. At the very least, you might identify that they're both relatively positive. And so whenever you're looking through the options, keep that in mind weighing the answer choices. Oh, I skipped. No, wait. Okay, so the first quotation is sincere, while the second is arrogant. I find it easier to live with myself if I try to be honest. Doesn't really sound arrogant. B, the first quotation is grave, while the second is passionate. Maybe passionate, but grave would be like very serious and solemn and kind of sad, which doesn't seem to fit the first. The first is observational, while the second is introspective. So observation is about somebody watching somebody else and making comments, which seems to fit. And then the second one, introspective, thinking about yourself. So C is the right answer. D, the first is playful and the second is mocking. It's not mocking because having read that whole passage, we know that he really believes that. And he's talking about himself, so he's not mocking there. All right, number 20. What can the reader conclude from the last paragraph of each selection? And the correct answer there is J. Both authors have had meaningful experiences. So the last section, remember we already talked about this with helping others to see. He talks about how he's learned a lesson. It is a great teaching. I've deepened my understanding of a basic tenet. And then from a ball to roll around, perhaps a man without sight is blinded less by the importance of material things than other men are. All I know is that a belief in the higher existence of nobility for men to strive for has been an inspiration that has helped me more than anything to hold my life together. Okay, so evidence that, oh, let me find the right question, that both have had a meaningful experience. 21, what is one difference between the author's treatment of their subjects? And in this one, really, B, C, and D just have parts that aren't right. So A, while the author of Helping Others to See focuses on Dr. V's interest in serving others, the author of A Ball to Roll Around focuses on his own personal growth. Is the correct answer there. 22, we have two quotations to compare again. After the presentation, all three generations hang out together and discuss the way they can put into practice the values brought forth in the presentation. And then the next, from a ball to a roll around. At Philadelphia's Overbrook School for the Blind, I invented a successful variation of baseball. We called it ground ball. So how are they similar? And this is kind of an odd coupling, but it's an activity that depends on group participation. Why? Because in the first one, the generations are hanging out together and discussing, and in the second one, it's a group game, a team game. Note that they may very well enjoy being around each other, but that isn't explicitly noted in both of them, so you can't pick that one. So while J may be correct, we don't have enough proof in just the quotations that we see there to call it correct. Okay, guys, this one took a little bit longer, but we went over two passages, so it's twice as long. Let me know if you have any questions. Great job. Your key phrase is turtle.